when the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keeps dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
Yo, what is going on, People Street? You already know the vibes. You already know what time it is. Back in the building, live in the flesh, live and direct. So, obviously, we already know. You've seen, if you've watched my match preview, yesterday after the Liverpool versus Arsenal game, spoke about that game. A couple other teams have obviously played yesterday. We know that Manchester City, they were obviously on Club World Cup duty. They ended up winning that. Congratulations to them. And we've seen all the fixtures before the Christmas period. I think there's only one more today. I believe it's Wolves versus Chelsea. I think that's the last one before Christmas. I know it's Christmas Eve. I know some of you are probably busy and, getting ready for the Christmas period, spend time with your families, for those who obviously celebrate it, etc., etc. All of that good stuff, But I thought, you know what? Today, I'm bored. I wasn't doing nothing. And this season in the Premier League, it's been like, how can I put it? It's been interesting. It's been interesting. There's been, would we say, a lot of stories, a lot of things obviously coming out this season. You've got the title race, we've got Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, heck, Tottenham, I believe are in the top four as well. Aston Villa, up there. Who would have thought? They would be challenging at this point in time at this time of the season. You've got Manchester United, doing absolutely woeful this season. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. The relegation battle, Everton getting deducted 10 points, but it's crazy. When I looked at the table, I saw if Everton hadn't been deducted 10 points, they'd actually be quite high up in the league. So things start to change now. All of a sudden, the perception upon Everton, placed this season, what would they be looking like without that 10-point deduction? Obviously, Luton, new in the Premier League, teams have found it difficult facing off against Luton, especially at the Kenilworth Road. Obviously, my condolences, not condolences, but, my heart goes out, obviously, to, I can't remember his name, but the player who obviously had cardiac arrest at Luton. Hopefully he's all right. I believe he is in hospital recuperating. That might have changed in the last 24 hours, but hope he's all right. It's the Christmas period. He's going to obviously, of course, spend time with his family, and then hopefully we can see him back on the football pitch. But, we got the Luton story there, Burnley coming up under Vincent Kompany, playing all this beautiful football, but is it leading to much? Although they did get that victory against Fulham yesterday. Tottenham under a new manager, attacking football. They seem to love it, the Tottenham fans. They're seeing something a bit different than, what they're used to under Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, all of that. Liverpool, of course, last season being absolutely abysmal, but then this season, brand new midfield. They're currently 1 point behind in the Premier League to the team that they faced yesterday in Arsenal. Arsenal got their own story. Chelsea have got their own story. I think every team has their kind of own story, which makes it for quite an interesting season. Now, some people would obviously argue, some people would say that the quality in the Premier League has been, it's been a bit meh. It's been a bit meh, if we're being, 100% honest, in regards to, usually we're kind of used to seeing one or two top teams who kind of break away from everybody else. And then, then we start seeing the other teams, who want to be battling and challenging for that kind of top four spot and things like that. And then obviously everyone else battling for whatever it is, kind of thing. I mean, heck, I forgot Brighton, through to the next round of the Europa League, their first foray into European football. Newcastle knocked out of the, the Champions League. Honestly, man, there's been so many different things, but obviously it all depends on how you perceive it. Obviously, your team, whether you think, in terms of your own team perception, of course, and big up for those who are in the chat already. Big up Red for Life in the building. Big up Tony Montana. No one impressed me from Liverpool. I find that one interesting. Because again, like I said, it's just depending on what your expectations were at the beginning of a season that's then gonna, play a part into, how you're looking at things now. If I'm being honest with you, of course, my expectations right now, Liverpool are over exceeding, those expectations. I can add context if I really wanted to, but the matter of the fact is Liverpool are second, in the Premier League at this current moment in time, and they're currently in a title race, so I couldn't have asked for any more. I did not think we'd be in a title race at all this season. So the fact that we are in one, I have to I have to big them up. Other teams might look at their own teams. Villa fans might look at their team. Arsenal fans, obviously, they're top of the league at Christmas, so they might be looking at things and thinking, okay, yeah, you know what I mean, we're doing all right. But in and amongst all of that, and big up obviously for those who are watching this, big up anybody who's watching this on the replay. Make sure you obviously hit that like button when you do tune this on. It only takes a second. I think I'm 3 away from 900. So if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do subscribe to the damn channel. But I want to take a look at 5 players. Why have I got 10 fingers up? 5 players who this season I've just felt. Now, and I need to add context to this, I'm not saying they've been the 5 best players this season. 1 or 2 maybe you could argue, but I'm not saying they've been the 5 best players, but they have been 5 players who I've looked at anyway this season, and I've genuinely been impressed. And you guys already know I'm constantly moaning. I'm always getting onto players. I'm always getting onto my own team and stuff like that in terms of performances and stuff like that. But there have been 5 players in and around the Premier League who I've looked at and just thought, okay, he's kind of shocked me, or, he's actually been playing really, really well, kind of thing, in terms of, again, the context of their own team, how they've been performing for their own team, and where I expect that team to potentially finish, come, the end of the season. Big up Red for Life. Kwanzaa has been the stand-up player for us, in my opinion. He has impressed me. I'll tell you now, he wasn't on my list, but I do have like honorable mentions and stuff like that. And he is 100% an honorable mention. Just quickly on Jarell Kwanzaa, I've spoken about him before for Liverpool. I know there's some people out there who've been, watching him for a long time. I have heard of him. I had heard of him, should I say, a while back, in terms of not before Billy Kometio, because I thought he would obviously be the next one come up. He went to pre-season with us a couple of seasons back. I thought, then I think he played that game in the cup. Was it against Leicester or someone? And he absolutely flopped, and I think Klopp kind of saw, all right, cool, yeah, this guy can't really, hang with the big boys at this current moment in time, whether that changes, of course, in the future. But Kwanzaa went on loan, obviously, last season, January of last season, and I didn't hear much about it in terms of, he was fantastic, he was this, that, and the other. I from listening to, was it Bristol Rovers? I think seeing what Bristol Rovers fans had to say on social media, anytime I actually typed in Kwanzaa's name or anything, just to see like what going on and, what's kind of happening, they seemed relatively happy with him. I'm not going to say they thought, oh my goodness. I don't think it was the same effect that Levi Colwill had at Brighton. I don't think it's going to be that. Of course, this is in the Premier League, that's in a lower league. So I can kind of understand it from that kind of perspective. But at the same time, I never really heard too much. Again, nothing negative, but nothing overly positive. I think it was quite steady, quite balanced. Again, understanding that he's a young player. This is his first foray into men's football, understanding the game, understanding little nuances in and around football, pre-match, after and post-match as well, learning to be around certain individuals on the training pitch, on match days, dealing with fans, and especially when you're down at the lower league. I always think to myself anyway, playing football before, when you're down at them kind of lower leagues, I promise you can hear that shit. You can hear what these fans are saying. You can almost hear every single word, sometimes of what these fans are saying. How do you deal with things like that, when you're not at an Anfield, where the only time you may hear someone individually is either it's the manager or you're really, really close by them on the touchline, things like that. And, for me, I didn't know really what to expect. We already know this season we wanted to come into the season. Some of us, most of us, if I'm being honest, anybody who says different is probably lying. We wanted to sign, obviously, a new centre-back in the summer. Levi Colwill was obviously one that we all looked at, was one that was name was being thrown around. Whether it was 100% linked, I don't know, but the name was being thrown around. Inacio from Sporting Lisbon, he was another name that was being thrown around. I think there's Todiba as well. He's another name that's been thrown around. So we in my opinion, in terms of the fans' perception, because I don't know what Klopp and the team were necessarily thinking, but in my perception, the fans really did want a new centre-back. But then obviously we had Jarrell Kwanzaa there, and Klopp obviously had faith in him. And obviously now it's looking like, yo, there's a reason why he had that level of faith in him. So for that reason alone, that's why he has genuinely impressed me in the games that he's played this season. But he doesn't make my list. Just really virtue of games. He's only played 5 games in the Premier League this season. Obviously, I know he's played other games across in Europe and in the cup games, but just in general, in terms of the Premier League itself, he's only played those kind of 5 matches. And I feel like I would need to see him more in the Premier League at a consistent basis, you know, playing game after game after game, just like a Van Dijk would do, or any one of the other senior players would do, and see how he kind of deals, you know, with things like that. So that's my reason for why he's not in it. But obviously, we can talk about him and a couple of the other players. Now, let's get to the first player I wanted to take a look at. I'll start from back to front. So I've got if I can find it here, boom. There we go. That's the first one up. Guglielmo. Is it Guglielmo? Guglielmo. Man, I'm just going to call him Vicario. I'm just going to call him Vicario. New Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper. Obviously, we know Hugo Lloris. You know, actually, has he actually left the football club, or is Hugo Lloris still kind of knocking about? I actually don't even really know. I think he's actually still there, but they obviously brought Vicario in to be their number 1. There was a lot of talk about him in the summer. Now, of course, again, we're all basing this off of last season. Of course, last season, Alisson, obviously, we already know what Alisson's about. Ramsdale had a decent season, obviously, for Arsenal, helping them to get to second. You've still got Ederson in there. David Raya, of course, playing for Brentford, but signing for Arsenal as well, you know, in the summer. There was so much talk about goalkeepers. Onana, you know, had a really fantastic Champions League campaign. Inter Milan getting to the final. Everybody's talking about Onana, the way he plays, his style of play. Is it going to suit Manchester United? Is that what they need? Etc. etc. You know, we all want these ball-playing goalkeepers instead of just a goalkeeper, but we want these ball-playing goalkeepers. And when Vicario came into Spurs, I'm not going to lie, and again, people can lie if they really want to, there was a lot of people who were like, Vicario? Really? Like, you could have got that. And the thing is, they were actually saying, why didn't you go out and get David Raya? I think I'm more than confident that even a lot of Spurs fans said the same thing once they found out that David Raya was going to go to Arsenal, or that he was even available, and then obviously subsequently went to Arsenal. Everybody was kind of like, oh, why didn't you go for David Raya? He's a good goalkeeper. And I think he's still a really, really good goalkeeper. I think he will iron out those kind of mistakes and stuff like that. But in general, if you had said to me, yeah, no, Liverpool, you can sign David Raya in the summer for a cut deal or whatever the type of deal that Arsenal did, I would have been relatively happy with that, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But, you know, ultimately, Tottenham then decided against that and got in Vicario, and they got in him. I think they got him quite early, actually, to be honest, in the summer. And there was question marks, and I genuinely didn't think he would turn out to be as good as I've seen him, if I'm being honest with you. Would I say he's been the best goalkeeper? I won't say that. I feel like it will probably be, you know, between himself and Alisson, if I'm being 100% honest. But I do think he has performed excellently, you know, for Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, as it obviously says here, you can see just quickly get up. Yeah, you can see here he's got 5 clean sheets in the Premier League already this season. But it's not even just the clean sheets, if I'm being 100% honest with you. It's actually the way he plays. You know, obviously this is just his stats of compared to other goalkeepers. So a 96% in terms of a sweeper keeper. Long ball accuracy is only at 30%. His clean sheet record obviously isn't that great at 21%, 41% in terms of goals conceded. Save percentage is at 57%. High claim percentage is at 51%. But when you actually watch him play, sometimes I do genuinely think to myself, like, nah, he is actually a genuinely top keeper. if I'm being honest with you. Like, he seems like a top keeper. He seems like someone who, again, in terms of the style of play that Tottenham and Ange want to actually go ahead and do, the sweeping up and stuff like that, he seems to be comfortable coming out of his goal. I'm not saying that that's his strong point, so to speak, but he seems comfortable coming out of his goal. I mean, this is his heat map here from the Premier League this season. You can see just in front of the his own the goalkeeping area, you can see him coming out of there, being comfortable playing with the ball there. Of course, Tottenham have got this stupidly crazy high line, so ultimately, that, in my opinion, when I see things like that, it's going to show you both its strengths and its weaknesses when you play that kind of style of football. Do you get what I mean? It is going to show you, those kind of things. Hold on a second. Big up everybody who's obviously in the chat at this current moment in time. Let me bring on the gaffer. Real quick.
What's going on?
You got my broski. How are you, man? How are you this afternoon, bro?
I'm calm. I'm frustrated, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get onto that.
Yeah, frustrated, but good, man. Good. I'm good.
What time did you get back? Quite late.
12.
Oh, right, got back at midnight. For those who don't know,
Yeah.
Jerry obviously went to the game because, of course, Klopp was complaining about the fans and the atmosphere. So Jerry felt, if he went to the game, he might be able to add to that atmosphere. How was the atmosphere inside the game, though?
Crazy. Like. Look, I'm not gonna. I know it's biased. I think the Kop weren't really shouting at that. The main stand, of course, it weren't. Kenny Dalglish stand, mid as well. Anfield Road was crazy. People were getting ejected. Police were ejecting people out of the seats.
Oh, I saw something about it, but I didn't quite understand.
Yeah,
what that was all about.
The stewards were coming down and telling us to sit down, and obviously some of the fans were like, "Why are we sitting down for? It's a big game. It's a big game. Yeah, stand up if you love the Reds. Stand up." So obviously they went and stood up. Obviously they stood up, and then they were telling people to sit down. Obviously some of us sat down. Some of these diehard Scousers weren't sitting down. All of a sudden, the police just rolled up, started kicking people out the stadium. It was that bad. It's a weird one. Like, Klopp's complaining about the atmosphere. When then people are trying to get the atmosphere up, the club are telling people to sit down. Like, you can't have a good atmosphere if people are sitting down, and it's annoying because at every moment, what? There's a chance and you're standing up to see what's going on, and then they're telling you to sit back down again, and then we win. Like, the way Liverpool play, it's not like it's sustained pressure.
Yeah, you have to keep going.
I'm jumping up and down trying to sit down. So it's a bit mad, but that was good, man. It was good. Yeah, atmosphere was crazy.
Ludicrous. Yeah, literally stand up. But big up for those obviously in the chat, and of course Red for Life here. And I would echo the same. Big up JJ. Thank you for your support, bro. You know what I mean? Thank you for bringing that support. But now, obviously, love for joining me this afternoon. It's just really a chilled one. I was bored and I said, you know what, why not? You know what I mean? I want to start doing some more lives anyway. So I said, let's just start off with this one for today before my one next week about the mid-season review. But yeah, obviously we're looking at 5 players who, in terms of impressed this season. Now, they're not necessarily the 5 best players of the season, just in terms of context of their team, how they've done for their own team, where you expect that team to potentially finish in the season. There are obviously 5 players that I've picked, but of course I would love to hear, any that you object, and who you would potentially replace, any of those kind of players with. So the first one that we've got up that I was just speaking about was obviously Vicario. Like I said, I felt like as a signing for Tottenham, with all of the goalkeeper talk in the summer, everyone talking about Onana, having a fantastic season, for Inter Milan in the Champions League. We already know what Alisson's about. Ramsdale having a decent season last season. David Raya having a decent season for Brentford last season. Who the other goalkeepers are out there? Edison, we already know, what he's kind of about. Tottenham obviously losing or not wanting to make Hugo Lloris that number 1 goalkeeper for the next season. When they then sign Vicario, how do you feel Like, how did you look at that signing first and foremost? And did you think he'd be as good as he has been, or do you not think he's been good at all?
I didn't know who the hell the guy was, bro. Vicario, who?
Same,
I was like, who the hell is this keeper? Like, for me, this was a signing which was like, boy, they might need another keeper, you know, like that. Like, they signed one, they might need another one, because I don't know who the hell this guy is. It's like, for me, it was the equivalence of, I don't know, a young player coming through the academy. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know how good he can be. And, you know, first game, because I watched Tottenham's first game, and he looked a bit shaky, like, at times with his feet. And I was like, ooh, they got one of them keepers that flaps about. And, you know, one of those keepers, I thought it was like, oh, no, they've gone and got themselves like another Mignolet, you know, like that, where...
That type of mid-keeper, like...
Yeah, like, I mean, like, he's decent, but, like, yeah, I mean, like, he can pull
do
up a
better.
save. Yeah, you know, a man just say he's a good shot stopper. Like, what the hell? What else is he supposed to be? I mean, imagine hearing about a defender. Yeah, the defender, he's a good tackler, though. He's a good tackler. Of course, he's a defender, bro. Like, if you can't tackle, there's a problem. But yeah, so none the wiser to who the guy was. But he done really, really well, man. He done really, really well. Like, you see, it started off shaky, but that's because you don't know who he is. And then as time's gone on and I'm watching him, the team's trusting him, fans are trusting him with the ball at his feet. Obviously the manager trusts him to go and play with the ball at his feet. And not on top of that, he's made some really, really good saves, man. Really, really good saves. For how much it was, how much was it? How much was that signing?
So it was chicken change. Like, I actually can't even remember, but I'm sure it was chicken change.
I got a feeling it was like 13 or something like that.
That's the kind of number I'm thinking of in my brain.
Yeah, hold on. Vicario, let me have a look now. But
he
moved to Venezia, Cagliari, Empoli. Yeah, he's been at some dead teams, and he's 27.
Bro, 20. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
not like
a 5-year deal. Trying to see how much he roughly costs, but the fact that he's been at some of these teams, like, I'm even looking at some of the teams that he's played for. But to be fair, last season alone, in 31 league appearances, he only conceded 39 goals. I know that sounds mad, but it's not as mad, considering he's not playing for, like, one of the top teams out there. And in 31 games, there's only, 8 more goals. He cost, big up LFC, Aaron. He's saying he cost Spurs 17 million. So
17, yeah. So it was the 13th of August they signed him, but it was 17 million. So that's a steal. If you think about it, how much did Liverpool spend on Alisson? How much did the City spend on Ederson? How much did City spend on Caldo Bravo? How much did, United spend on Onana?
David De Gea and Onana,
David De Gea, Onana. Like, so they're spending a lot of money to get him for 17 million in this market. It's some shrewd business from them, man. So, look, I like Spurs. Long may it continue for them, innit? Like, they've got a decent... They're starting to build a decent spine. My man up front is starting to bag now as well. And I told man he's going to get 15 goals.
R9.
Yeah, R9. Yeah, they're saying they're trying to say you ain't going to get... Nunes are going to get more goals than him. Yeah, I don't think so. But no, he's good, man. Good signing, really, really good signing. It definitely should be in that top 5, man.
No, I feel you. Big up Red for life. Yeah, man, this guy is quite good, very agile, made some 6 saves already, and seems pretty composed. Basically, everything that Jerry is kind of reeling off. And just same thing. I never heard of him. Big man thing. And I was doing all of those scout missions during the summer. And I promise you, I didn't even know. Bro, I know. Bro, when they signed him, I promise you, I did the same thing you just said, which is, who the fuck is Vicario? I had to, and the thing, and big up Patrick, by the way. Spurs fan. He obviously was he's obviously spoken about Vicario and stuff like that, and he gave a little bit of like background, obviously information to him, and I was like listening to just to see who the hell this kind of keeper is. And he wasn't, from what I can remember, I could be completely wrong, but I don't feel like he was that worried that he was coming in, as opposed to, as I was mentioning before, Jerry, like obviously David Raya was available because we knew that he wanted to leave. I don't think he wanted to sign a new deal with Brentford. We know that Arsenal was like, there was a little bit of talk that Arsenal might be interested. But for me, I was looking at David Raya and saying Manchester United and Tottenham, both of these guys need new goalkeepers. So both of you, why don't you go in for someone like David Raya? He's Premier League proven. He is actually a good goalkeeper. I'm not saying he's the best, but he is a decent enough goalkeeper. So why not go in for someone like him? And neither of them went in for him, and he obviously ended up at Arsenal, and obviously the rest is history. But I do think he's a decent goalkeeper anyway. But let's move on to the next player who's impressed me this season. Who should we go with? I said I'll go from back to front, so we'll have to go to this player. He played yesterday. I actually want Jerry's opinion on this player because I think I messaged you and asked you about him, so you probably already know who it is, and that's Declan Rice, defensive central midfielder. He's actually got 3 goals and 2 assists this season. This is for someone who I wouldn't say is known necessarily for their goal scoring. If you look at his heat map here, this guy is everywhere, absolutely everywhere, whether it be in those defensive positions, whether it be just genuinely in the central, or if he's further forward in those wide areas, helping out the defense, helping out the attack. He's always an option, so to speak. And again, this is where I want Jerry's opinion because you saw him live. I've never actually seen Declan Rice live. One of the things that I notice anywhere in the game is that he seems to always be in the right position. May not always get a tackle off, may not always do what he needs to do, but he just feels like he's always in that right position, like at more often than not, kind of thing. But how did you see him, yesterday, and how did you feel like he did? Of course, Anfield pressure as well. So that
look, yesterday I don't think I've seen him a few times. It hasn't been his best performance that I've seen live.
Cool.
But it was a very, very good performance. I think obviously the way Arsenal moved the ball obviously allows them to also like be in positions to go and like pass the ball and get about the pitch a bit more because they played through him a lot. But very, very good player. Was everywhere. As you said, at times he was driving the ball forward and kind of playing it from deep. At other times he was at left back. I think Trent was playing a ball into Salah and he's ran across. I thought Salah was going to get the ball and he's just jumped in and I just healed
I
it
see. Yeah.
away.
I think he ended up fouling Salah in the end, but to me, I was like, that's kind of good play there.
It was good play, but he got there. I don't think it was a foul. I think it went for a throw-in. It wasn't even a foul. It wasn't even a foul, that one. The ball came in, and he's jumped in front of Salah as Salah's trying to wait, and he's like boot the ball away, but with his heel. He's clipped it, he's touched it away, and I was like, okay. He's really, really, really good. Really composed on the ball. I think, look, he's the player. Remember when we were talking about, do we want Bellingham? Do we want Rice? I was saying, look, I'd have Rice. I think Rice does everything in a similar fashion. Now, of course, Bellingham's proven he's probably got a bit more to his attacking game because he's had license to go and get forward.
Exactly.
But when I saw him, what he did for England from Bellingham, when I saw what he did for Borussia Dortmund, obviously when he was deeper in his first couple of seasons, and then what he would provide to Liverpool, I was the one saying, "Oh, look, get Rice because you can get it for cheaper," and I think he's probably on the same level. Do you know what I mean, like in terms of his ability? And he's been very, very good, man. Like I can't. There's nothing. He's just a very good player, isn't it? He's just a top player. Can pass with left foot, right foot, can tackle, can get forward. He's got power. Definitely player of the season. Scored some important goals this season as well. And I've got to say, I didn't think he'd be this impressive in his first season at Arsenal. I thought him going to Arsenal, I don't know what it is. I look at Arsenal, I just don't rate a lot of their players, but he's one of the players I rate. I look at him and I'm like, oh, okay, he's that guy. And I didn't know whether he'd be able to go and replicate that at Arsenal. I thought the City move would be a bit better for him, but he's been really good.
Same. Hold on, you say you don't really rate a lot of their players. So what are you, a Saliba or Konate fan?
You see, do you know what's mad? Do you know what's mad?
You obviously saw all of them yesterday.
Yeah, so. Saliba, he was solid, and he done one thing in the game where Salah went to press him, and he just went, and he went, and he went that way, and he just kind of sent him. Apart from that, Konate, I don't know what he drank, and I know he don't look as easy on the eye, but he was outstanding. Outstanding. You have to remember as well, Liverpool play in such a different way that Saliba, and of course they've got the DM and they've got Rice and they've got players that are going to kind of get back and help out. He's not as isolated as Konate. Konate was isolated at times. He made 5 blocks. Like he was like the fact that we left the stadium and I'm hearing on Sky Sports they gave the man of the match to Saliba. I was like, what? Saliba?
So okay, so I'll give you, because I thought Saliba was the man of the match, but the reason why I gave it to Saliba is basically everything you just said. Is the sheer fact of all the good. Forget that one little stupid, like that was a sick move. I'm not just trying to dismiss it, but forget that anyway. Just in terms of everything that we praise Jarrell Kwanzaa for, that we praise Virgil for, it's this. So I have to keep the same energy. Saliba was doing more or less the exact same things. The calmness on the ball, bringing the ball out, the passing, being in the right positions, not being too rash. Just being that sense of calmness that when he's there, it is that Virgil, which is why maybe I understand a bit more why Arsenal fans will then refer to him as that kind of baby Van Dijk, because he brings you that sense of calmness. Now, what you're saying, I can understand why people were like, no, Konate was better. But to me, I was just like, just because a player is doing more because his team have had to do more, i.e., Konate had to do more duels. It's almost like when we're doing player ratings and we try to rate Virgil van Dijk. I've said it 100 times. Sometimes I treat Van Dijk like the goalkeeper. If man's not really doing anything and the little he does do is good, I can't give you a high rating because I'm almost sitting there like, well, you didn't do bare things, so you did everything you did do, which was good, but you didn't do enough good things where I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to give you, for example, a 10 out of 10 as an example. So when I looked at Saliba, I was like, everything he did do was amazing. Everything Konate did was amazing. Konate just had to do more though. So is that a fault of Saliba or is that a fault of, I find it hard to judge it like.
It's not Saliba's fault.
Obviously, of course,
it's not Saliba's fault, but put it this way, if let's say we had Alisson, right? Yeah, and Alisson's had to make 20, let's just be mad, like hypothetical and dramatic. He made 20 saves in a game, 20 one-on-one saves. Yeah. And Raya only made one one-on-one save in a game. Liverpool's defense were poor, and we end the game as a 0-0 draw. Yeah. I'm looking at Alisson saying, you're man of the match. You were asked to go and do more, and you delivered, and you've done everything. You didn't put a foot wrong. You didn't put a foot wrong. Whether it was you had to Marshall, it was Martinelli going one-on-one, you got back, you nipped it. Do you know what I mean? Whether it was having to go and get the block, like Odegaard's on the edge of the box, he's about to slap it into the back of the net. We're all thinking, oh no, he goes and blocks it. Saliba was never ever in that position, to go and do that. A lot of the time, it was just like I said, like Van Dijk, innit? It was just like if we're talking about passing, from what I saw. But that's what I'm saying. But if I'm talking about passing, what I'm looking, Van Dijk's passing was the best of anyone, best out of all the centre backs, best out of all of them.
Oh yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that.
I was playing left foot clips into the channel and stuff. Like it was like he just kept doing it. He kept going bang, bang, and it kept just finding its man. It's like Saliba, don't get it twisted. That me saying he wasn't man of the match isn't saying that he's a dead defender. Like,
I know. I know.
Saying, oh no, he's quality. Like you can see he's quality. Like even a couple times. I've
not seen him live, to be fair.
Yeah, like up to like now he's quality. You can see his quality. One thing I'd say is especially like when you're talking about being composed, the team around him helps him a lot. And what I mean by that is when you've got Ben White, who again very composed, but like cultured centre back that's playing right back, right? You've got Gabriel, that's Gabriel, cool. You've got Zinchenko, composed because he's on that. His strengths are on the ball. You've got you've then got Declan Rice, who's composed. You've got Odegaard, who's composed. You've got Havertz, who's like, you know what I mean? When we talk about these players, their best ability is their ability on the ball, innit? Like Rice may be a bit more of his physicality thing, but he's proven to me on the ball he's composed. You've then got Saka that's composed. You've got and then you've got Jesus that's very composed as well. Like he's going to keep the ball for you. When they're playing the passes about, like Van Dijk hasn't got the option to pop it into Endo and like from a distance, like I don't know, from a 5 meter distance, zip it into him and end up setting it to him quickly to go and for him to then first time pass it out to Trent. That's going to pop it back into Endo and then there's going to set it back into Virgil van Dijk. Like when we were watching the game, there's a couple of times Saliba's got the ball and he just zipped it into like Rice. And you're thinking,
there was one time he zipped it into Odegaard and Odegaard took the touch was so deft. He ended up winning the free kick. I was like, yo.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's my point, is that he's done it. And let's say, and Gakpo's on Rice, like he's touching up Rice, and Rice like pause. He's on Rice, right?
Yeah.
And Rice is just like had to first time just open his body up and just set it like is in he's facing this way and the passes come straight at him. He's had to open his body up for it to go out wide into Ben White, who's then zipped it back into Saliba, who's punched it back into Rice, and Rice punched it back into Saliba. That for me, like, yeah, you're looking composed, but it's the players around you that are making you look like every pass you're popping about is all calm. Van Dijk a lot of the times passes to Endo, and Endo looks like he's about to lose the ball. Look what happened in the Palace game when Van Dijk popped it into him. He touches it, do you know what I mean? Loses the ball, and then it's a different type of thing. And what I'm trying to say is, from what Konate was doing, Konate was like last minute challenges. Do you know what I mean? Like Martinelli through 1-on-1, he catches him up, wins the ball. Do you know what I mean? No foul. He's out wide defending. Bear in mind, Trent's coming inverted. Like, he's having to do so much work on that side. It's like with Gabriel in it. It's like people are talking about Saliba. Gabriel had a very good game, but no one's talking about.
He did.
And he got the goal.
And he scored a goal.
And that's my point. So if anyone at that back line, if someone's arguing with me, oh no, Gabriel should have got man of the match, I'd be like, fair enough. He defended really well. He had to obviously cover for Zinchenko, who's inverting, who Saliba doesn't have to because he's got a centre back right next to him who understands positioning, and he's got to go and defend Salah, and he scored the goal. For me, it would have been between Gabriel and Konate, but Konate for me was top.
And okay, cool. I'm so happy that you've said all of this, because I'm not going to disagree with that, because I think everything you said, I blatantly do kind of agree. I think it's just more about the preference and
stylistically how it looks.
Stylistically,
I get it.
I think that's
when you're looking at it,
just more...
what you said about the comparison, like when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. You
can maybe understand now why they call him.
Why? Yeah. Now I've seen it live. It's the first time I saw it live. I was like, oh, okay, like
cool.
We're sitting there and we're like, all right, they're moving the ball around really well. Like you can see.
So then, and I'm not trying to compare the two. Van Dijk is levels. We all know he is the best. Blah blah blah. Do you not think with everything you said that's very similar to Van Dijk anyway? Hence why I try, but I almost feel like sometimes the comparisons are not the comparisons. The conversation around Van Dijk are why I don't have him above other centre backs in terms of the old guys, so the Rios, the Terrys, and people of that kind of ilk. Because I'm like, the side that you play on first and foremost helps you out. This is when he was, by the way, when he was at his best. So at Liverpool at their best, the side that you play down, you don't have Trent down your side who's going on walkabouts where you're going to have to start defending out wide like there's no man business. You don't have a Salah who doesn't come back and help you. You had a Mane who will come out and help you. You've got Robertson there who's got bundles of energy. Heck, you then got your DM in Fabinho who will help you in these kind of situations. Of course, the things that he does do is really, really good. But then that's why I'm almost like, yeah, you're doing good, but I almost feel like Matip at the time or Gomez, they're having to do so much more, and they're still doing that excellently. So I'm almost like, shouldn't I be looking more at them? Because, you know, you're not having to do nowhere near as much work as these guys. Remember, there was a period of time, because of the way that we played and because of the way that we do play, everyone's going down that side. Yes, because Virgil's not on that side, but also because Trent is never on that side. So because Trent is never on that side, everyone knew it makes more sense to go down the right-sided centre-back and the right-back as opposed to the left-sided centre-back and the left-back, where we know defensively they're a bit more solid. So he's not going to have to face as much as everybody else. So I almost feel like what you're saying is exactly how we talk about Van Dijk, but then we put Van Dijk on this mad pedestal, and I'm like, but it's the same thing, no? Like, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I think the difference is when we started playing with Van Dijk, we had just nowadays it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Robertson used to be high, you know. Like, think of how many times Van Dijk, you see that clipped ball that he done into like Diaz or whoever yesterday.
Yeah.
He was playing it into Robertson. He was playing it into Robertson. Robertson was mad high. And it was like,
Robertson can get back, though. He can get back.
No. Yeah, they would get back, but bear in mind, a lot of the time they wouldn't. We'd win it really high. So we'd do that, and then we'd win it, and it would be like Gini Wijnaldum or Henderson or Fabinho winning it. And that midfield obviously helped the defense out as well. I agree, Robertson's a bit more defensively solid. I would say the difference is the fact that we had a right-sided centre-back and we had a pairing centre-back. So it could have been Gomez, it was Matic, it was Klavan, it was Lovren. That man weren't rating. Yeah, and defensively we were poor. Yeah, we're a terrible team. Tactically, we didn't change from what we're doing, but you put one player in there and everything changed. That's the difference.
But don't you think it's kind of like a bit like that with Arsenal? Like their back line all of a sudden just looks way better than it ever did before with him in there.
No.
Heck, remember, he got injured, and they're telling me that that's one of the reasons why they didn't win the league, because he got injured.
No. 100%. I think from a defensive standpoint, I think he's someone that's very, very, very solid. But what I would say is that they've gone and strengthened their team. Like when you looked at the other players that they went and bought, you have to remember they had Partey, who they dropped into that team. They had this player that dropped. When Virgil van Dijk came, it was a midfield of Milner. At times it was Chamberlain and someone else. That midfield was just running around. And what Van Dijk did to that defense, alongside winning, which we have to remember, he won something, is why you're talking about Van Dijk as, oh, this is ridiculous. Van Dijk as well, at times, man weren't respecting him. So when he was going like 1v1 against certain players didn't know, like they were like, he's from Southampton, we're just going to get at him. It's only when you realize you couldn't, you started going over to the right, which obviously you realize that's the weak spot. There was pure times Van Dijk, the reason why Van Dijk weren't getting dribble past, because people were trying to attempt, but you weren't having it. Like, do you know what I mean? Or I remember the 2-on-1 against, like, I haven't seen Saliba in a 2-on-1 situation. Man, like the 2-in-1 situation he had against Spurs away.
Oh
It was Sissoko and Son, and he's checking his that for me sums up what that was like. That is the most ridiculous thing I've seen. Saliba, man are gassing it because what he kept up with Nunes when they were sprinting for the ball on a 6-on-1. Like, they're like, wow.
So I even want to. That's actually a good segue, because obviously we're talking about Declan Rice. Explain to me, because obviously I've seen both sides. So both Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans. Obviously, Arsenal fans' perspective is one, yes, Trent missed, blah, blah, blah. He should have scored, whatever, of course. And obviously, Liverpool fans are saying that. But Declan Rice in this situation. Now, I'm just, again, like I said, I've just seen both sides. I'm actually more on the side of, brother, you just should have scored. Like, I don't know why you just didn't score. But we'll just for the sake of it, because we've got him up here, because we're speaking about him. In that situation, and again, you was there, so you can give me the 4-1-1 and how people saw it. Was Declan Rice, like, did he do well, or as well as he could have done in that situation, bearing in mind it was 5-6-on-1? Bearing that in mind. But you tell me how you saw it, obviously, in that situation. Because I've seen both sides. I've seen someone did a whole thread. I'll try and tag you in it now. I saw a whole thread on why Declan Rice was sick in that moment, and then they compared it to the Van Dijk situation, the 2v1. So I want you to tell me.
Man, so
no. I saw it today.
Hold on. You have a 2-on-1, yeah, where man have left him 2-on-1. They've left him 2-on-1. There's no one running back after him. He's 2-on-1. There was no other support. It was, I either beat this keeper or I pass it and square it. I could have done whatever, right? Liverpool, like and you've seen it. He's jockeying Sissoko, doing all of this type of movement, yeah, to force him to do something, while checking his shoulder to see where Son is, so he's at the right angle. So the pass to Son is risky, yeah. Forcing Sissoko to shoot on his weak foot. All Rice did is run back and then spin around to go and fake, and obviously just retreat. Salah's played the pass to the furthest man, which was Trent, on a 6v1. Saliba didn't even cover that side. He covered this side. It doesn't matter. Trent could have touched the ball. He could have set it back. We'd have scored. Like, he should have just put the ball bobbled. Obviously, in real life, we didn't see it. It just looked crazy. But the ball bobbled before he hit it. If that's a goal, what did Rice do well? Did Rice force the bobbled pass? Did Rice?
But that's the argument is, what if Sissoko or Son had scored? What would we have said in that situation between him and Van Dijk? Like, we would have been like, well, Van Dijk couldn't have done anything.
No. But the complete difference was that one from Trent was like, you didn't affect Trent's decision making. You didn't affect Salah's decision making. So when Sissoko's got the ball. You've affected his decision making because of your positioning and the fact that you're Van Dijk, and because of people want to talk about aura, right? With Rice, he didn't affect anyone's decision making. Salah still played the pass he wanted to pass. Like Salah's left footed.
No.
Salah was never ever gonna pass out wide to whoever was on that side of him. I think it was Nunes that side of him. He was never gonna pass that side. He was always gonna pass to the right hand side, which had Trent, Gakpo, and who else? Elliot.
Yeah.
Or Trent.
Yeah, it was Elliot. It was Elliot. Yeah, it was Elliot. Because Elliot was a bit too slow to try and catch up.
It was that line. So he's passed to that option. Anyone would have, if you were playing FIFA, you would have passed to that side anyway.
Yeah.
So Rice didn't affect any decision making from that. He just dropped back in it. He just ran back just to be a body. So it's like me saying now, what Saliba did was the same thing as Van Dijk, because Saliba ran back, and he caught up with Nunes though. But he didn't affect any decision making. If anything, Saliba running back affected Salah's decision making because now he didn't have the pass to Nunes. If anything, Rice just dropped off. He allowed him to get into the box. Bear in mind, Sissoko didn't get into the box. Sissoko couldn't get into the box.
Yeah, that's why he take the shot. Yeah.
I'm mad that is on a 2-on-1. You have to shoot from outside of the box because you don't know what to do.
He was definitely shocked.
That's what Martinez done for Inter Milan. Do you remember when we faced them and you got the ball and just shot from outside the box?
Oh, just shot, yeah, and he scored. I saw he scored.
No, he missed. Remember when he missed it? When you got scared? No. Anfield he scored. Yeah, Anfield he scored. Yeah. Anfield when he scored. But yeah, no. There's nothing. No, I'm gonna lie. There's no man. They are reaching, and this is the problem.
I thought that too, but I was like, maybe I saw something different.
Yeah, and then you got Robbie, and then you got all of them just like,
all them.
I got so lucky. I got so lucky. I was like, yeah, allow it, man. Allow it.
No. I like I said, this morning, obviously, I'm going through my tweets and stuff like that, and I'm like just checking out to see the aftermath, obviously, of the game. You know, seeing what people are saying, the Konate, Saliba talk. I agree. I think all four of the centre backs were all good yesterday. I think it just comes literally just down to your preference, to be honest with you. You could have picked any of the four to potentially have been your man of the match. Endo obviously being another one kind of thing. But and obviously
put it this way though. Because I'm going to talk about it later on my show, and I'll like later on for the tactics board, feel free to hop on. But the attack is something that needs to be spoken about, because I'm telling you now, if that was if I'm telling you now, it could have been Salah versus Mane, and no, Salah and Mane versus Saliba and Rice. Who's your money on to score? Who's your money on to just execute? Liverpool are scoring, bro. You go back to that position, we could have had 7 on. Like listen, we could have had 2 on 3 on 2. It could have been Mane and Salah versus their 3 defenders. We would have scored.
Of course.
Whereas now we're dealing with 3 forwards.
Really 4 to be honest, because
3 forwards and 3 midfielders. 3 forwards and 3 midfielders against 1 defender, and we can't score. This is crazy. Anyway.
We say 3 midfielders. Technically, one of them's a right back, but you know that kind of shows you the state that we're kind of in. But obviously, just quickly, of course, as I said, we'll keep on the midfield before we move on to the next player that I've got up. You might like this player as well. There's obviously other midfielders. So we've had Maddison move to Tottenham from Leicester City, obviously, who went down. He has impressed me, but him getting injured and being out for the period of time that he has been out for, I just didn't feel like I could necessarily put him in, so to speak. But he has impressed me. He'd be an honourable mention. We've got Szoboszlai. Now, that's obviously one. Of course, we're Liverpool fans, so of course we're going to speak on Szoboszlai. And big up Tony Montana. He's saying, can we talk about Szoboszlai? We were sold a dream. I'm not going to say we were sold a dream, because I don't think it's that type of thing in terms of he's one. I don't think it's like Joe Linton, where man's a striker, but really his best position actually is as a midfielder in that type of setup and etc., because he can't hit a barn door. I just think that it's more to do with the way that we play, in terms of why we're seeing, would I say, there's a Szoboszlai, that we have been seeing. I felt like yesterday, in the game. Again, I don't want to go too deep into it because I want to wait until Jerry's tactics board. But yeah, I did feel that yesterday he wasn't. Again, I felt defensively, he was okay. Like, I mean, as defensive as he, maybe as good as he possibly could have been, but nothing really to scream home about. But in terms of Szoboszlai in a general sense throughout the whole season, just comparing him to Rice, so to speak, in terms of their actual performance, not position, in your opinion, who's been the better signing between the two players?
I mean, is that a trick question?
No, I just want to hear it so that I don't sound mad when I say these things. And I'm like, well,
so
no,
guys, what
G's
doing? He's got an idea in his head. He knows we share the same idea. He doesn't want to be one to say it.
I don't want to be the only one to say it.
He's at the parent. He's like, who's gonna tell her? He's gonna tell our son that like you can't kick ball. Like, I don't want to do it. We both say, we both think you can tell him. You can tell him he's not good enough. Like, nah. Now, do what it is. What is Szoboszlai? Look, had we had swapped Szoboszlai, if Szoboszlai had been at Arsenal,
okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. If you swapped
and Rice was at Liverpool,
yeah.
Without having both of those players. So remember, I'll go back to what I said. If Liverpool had Rice now, I think we'd be in a different position. If we had him in a DM position, just because he's a better quality player than what we've got, Szoboszlai's performances might be a bit better because you can see the ground that he covers. If he's got that energy to cover ground, I mean, Szoboszlai he doesn't need to be there. He can get further forward, right? But Declan Rice has been more pivotal to their team and their fluidity and their movement as a whole. Szoboszlai, good player. You can see what he offers when he can kind of play his game.
Yeah, that's rude.
As soon as you go and you put him in a Liverpool team in a big game, Klopp's scared to play Trent in midfield, wants to play him out wide again because it's his safety net. He's scared of transition. He doesn't think Trent can do a DM role. That's why he played Endo, and to be fair, Endo had a good game. Yeah. Then you end up with a performance that you did yesterday, innit, where it was just a lot of winning the ball back and running with the ball. Like it is what it is. I mean, people talk about the Hendo role. That's what it was. He was covering for Trent. When Trent went forward and, won the ball back in midfield and just ran around, didn't it? Just ran with the ball and just got the ball. And that's about it. That's what
the Henderson.
But he started off really well. But maybe this is just the level that he's going to be at in this system, innit? Maybe.
We have to wait and see. Big up John II. A player like Rice was more needed than Zobo in the summer. I think you could have got both, and technically we did when you think about it, because we guys, we have got Endo. Like, man, I want to be this. We have got Endo, so we have got that. Number 6 in there. Big up Tony Montana. Gravenberch looking stinky as well. Again, another midfielder. He's impressed in parts this season. Obviously not enough for me to have him, what I say, as an honourable mention, so to speak. But, we'll get into that. Obviously, we'll talk more, obviously, on Jerry's. I want to save all of that, like the deep Liverpool talk. We'll save it for Jerry's tactics board. So make sure you guys obviously tune in for that. But moving on to the next player. Like I said, I feel like you might like this player. This is the player who Jerry, he did, like, when me and him had conversations privately and stuff like that, he was always telling me, nah, watch him, he's good. I can't lie, I wasn't that convinced. I thought, well, Jerry's IQ looking a bit brazy. First it was Nunez, then it was this brother, and I was thinking, Jerry, I don't know, man, like, I don't know what's going on. But, would I say the second half of last season and all of this season so far anyway, I think he's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. And you probably guessed it, but it's Lucas Paqueta. He's got himself 5 goals, 5 assists for West Ham United this season. This guy is I don't even know, but I watched him yesterday. I think I've even got the video of his assist. Let me see if I can bring it up. There we go. Like, you see that assist? That assist was done. That it was just too done. It was too.
On the bounce.
Jerry. If you even they even when I watched the highlight, I was watching it so many times. When I watched the highlight back, even the way he kicked the ball to definitely put it into Bowen's, like Bowen just made it like he should have just finished it properly. Obviously, he finished it, so it's calm, doesn't really matter. But if he had just rifled that into the net first time, that would have just looked like such a fucking banging goal. Yes, John, we know. You've obviously been speaking about him from his Leon days. Why we didn't sign someone like him, I don't really know. But even when I'm looking at someone like him, you know, we saw him up against Liverpool at Anfield. West Ham came there. I think we beat them. Was it 2-3-1 or whatever it was? Of course, we beat them, so it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But the performance I saw from him, I was like, yeah, he was the best midfielder on the whole pitch, which is mad because your team lost 3-1. It's not like you lost like 1-0 and it was a tight game. Your team lost 3-1 and you were still the best midfielder on the pitch, man. Chat to me about Paqueta, bro.
He's just different, man. He can play anywhere in midfield, like anywhere in midfield, like as in the DM. You can slap him in a DM and you do a job. Like you see what McAllister's done, will do 10 times better than that. He's got a bit more aggression. He's got a bit more aggression than that. He's played in a double pivot for West Ham. He played in a number 10. He's played on the left. He played on the right for Leon at times. John put me on Paqueta from before. This guy is top quality, and you can see why City wanted to sign him. And listen, we're lucky they didn't sign him, because if they did, they'd have another player that can just play in multiple positions. That is so good. You can play him in the 8. Imagine having him out wide or rotating. We either got him or Grealish or Doku. Now you can slap Doku on the right. It gives them so much flexibility. You can play Paqueta on the right because he's left-footed. You can play him in the centre. Boy, keep up again. He's for West Ham under Moyes.
Yeah, that's what I'm under Moyes. Moyes,
like that's like creativity is just null and void, isn't it? Like in that team, like and I think Moyes is all right. I like him as an individual, but it's crazy, man. And you can see just this season, obviously, because with the signing of Ward-Prowse and Kudus, he's obviously playing more on the left,
which is mad. He's playing more on the left as well. I find that crazy.
But he just so good, man. Like so good. I told you, like West Ham last season, West Ham versus Liverpool, when we beat them, I think it was 2-1. Remember when Paqueta scored?
Yes. I think you went to the game. I'm sure you went to.
I went to the game. That guy. I was telling people there. I was telling you, I was like, after that game, I said to you, I was like, listen.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and I was still like, I don't know.
Slap him in the 8. I was like, get him now.
But that's why, because you kept saying put him in the 8, and I kept thinking, but obviously, bro, we know what Liverpool's midfield what Klopp requires from his midfield. Hence why we were more on Declan Rice than we were Bellingham, because I'm like, nah, because for what we need, Bellingham would not be doing what he's doing at Real Madrid if he came to Liverpool. No way. He might be touching 3 goals, like if we're lucky. These times he's got 17 or 18, whatever it is, at Real Madrid. That was the same with Paqueta. I was like, where do we fit someone like him in? I can't lie. You can play him really anywhere. I think I generally believe this guy can.
You need to just play the guy. You actually just need to play him. Like he's one of them players. You play him. Like.
I agree.
Boy, it was like, with Klopp, Klopp probably didn't like that Coutinho style of player, but at that time, he was so good. You had to play him. You had to force him in. So whether it was in the number 10, whether it was in midfield, whether it was on the left wing, wherever, you had to play him because he was that guy. He is that guy, man. And boy, I mean,
big up to Paqueta every single time, man. Honestly, very, very good player. I think if he didn't have this whole betting thing over, like hanging over him kind of thing, I don't know when that even comes into play, but if he didn't have that hanging over him, I reckon he'd get a move. I don't know what's happening with that whole betting thing. Is it done? Did they postpone it? Like, have they suspended? Like, I have no idea with that situation. So someone would obviously have to fill me in regards to that. But yeah, once that's cleared, if he gets cleared of that, I promise you he's leaving West Ham. I think right now, trying to sign him would be a bit like, I don't know, like it's a bit mad. Do you get it? It's almost like trying to sign Tony, even though it's finished, or it will be finished in January. it's like, I don't know, man. Like your name being attached to the club, that might not look good. Hence why I don't feel like Liverpool would go and sign someone like Tony unless he was like dirt cheap kind of thing. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see. Let's move on to the penultimate player. This guy is a winger. Teams not doing, maybe at this point, maybe I don't know where they see themselves at this point. Obviously, in their journey, maybe they thought they'd be doing a lot better in the league. Not really had a good European campaign, but he's impressed me though. And that is Anthony Gordon. Got himself 6 goals and 6 assists this season. But for me, it's not even really even about the goals and assists. It's actually just his overall general play. If I'm being totally honest with you, you know, some of the things that I'm seeing him do, the way that he plays, the way that him playing alongside Callum Wilson or an Isak or whatever, I feel like it's just refreshing, considering when he came from Everton originally, obviously coming last season. When he first signed, I can't lie, I wasn't even sold. And big up Roms. Roms always kept talking about him. Like, yeah, no, he's, you know what I'm saying, he's good. I used to think, just like Jerry with the whole Paqueta thing, I just thought, brother, you man are on these wishy-washy players, bro. But I can't lie, man. I like being proved wrong, because especially when they're performing like this, and I feel like he's been, a Newcastle fan would have to tell me, but I would feel he'd be their top 2 best players, you know, this season anyway. I can't think of really anybody else who might have outperformed him, you know, so to speak, for Newcastle anyway. So I'm shocked by his just overall performances, the way I feel like he's even upped his game a little bit, both on and off the ball. I'm just like, yo, he's actually doing all right, man. Chat to me about Gordon, bro. Like, how do you see him? Do you like him? Do you not think he's that good? Or you think this is his level?
I think he's good. I think he's very, very, very a kind of direct type of player. Is he? Can he get to like the next level? I'm not sure.
Remember, we've got to go through levels. You know, you can't just jump
go through levels. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I think it's good. He's gone to that level. He's shown that he's got that pace. He's got good player. Had a really, really good, really, really good Euros. Would probably do better than some of our wingers right now at Liverpool. So that speaks glaring about a certain Colombian, man. A certain, do you know what I mean? A certain Colombian.
Hey, Colombians, man. I ain't trying to fight with them at all.
Yeah, certain
Colombians. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you want to be, you know what I'm saying? You better be keeping in their good books, my bro. You're more tight
certain Colombians need to get X'd off. But yeah, for me, it's one of those ones. Like he's like I said, he's Evertonian. People aren't like, from a Liverpool perspective, and a lot of people who will be Liverpool fans and they're not gonna like him. Everton are a team that a lot of people don't like anyway. They're just a bit kind of, do you know what I mean? They're like the outcasts. But he's direct, he's good, he showed he could score goals. Can he just build on this? If he has like another season like this, then for me it's like he's going down the Bowen route, where I'm gonna start to say, okay, you can consistently deliver. Because for me now, Bowen's that guy. Like, slap him up now. Like, slap him up now.
27. Just let you know, he's 27.
No. I don't care. At this point in time, at this point in time, what he's for 3-4 seasons now. I think for 3 seasons, he's got goals and assists consistently for West Ham. Like, he's inevitable now. Scores in big games.
This type of team as well. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like remember
the way Moyes plays. With the way Moyes plays.
Conference final, he's the one who scored. You saw the other day he wrapped it with his right foot against Liverpool when there was no chance. He just got in front of Konza, touch, bang. Like, he's you know, when you talk about Salah being inevitable, Bowen's now inevitable. And when we're looking at his stats, hasn't he got? How many goals has he got now? Is he not third in the top scorers?
Who, Bowen? He's level with him. Oh, no, technically now. No, now he's one behind, Salah, because Salah scored.
Yeah, one behind Salah. So he's third. Yeah, so he's third. I thought so. Yeah, he's third.
How many goals he
got?
For 11.
11. Yeah, 11 goals. How many assists? Where is it?
Probably, to be honest, even the assist with him, I don't really care when you're scoring 11 goals in a season, if I'm being honest, for a team like West Ham. Big up Paul. Listen, I'm not disagreeing. I hear it, because I'm also I'm not sold on Bowen, but I'm slowly getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I don't know what that next level is. All I'm saying is don't try to come Liverpool. That is not your next level. You know what I mean? Go to Tottenham if you have to.
You wouldn't want him at Liverpool?
No, because
he's better. Bar Salah, of course, he's better than every single one of our forwards. He's got more to offer than every single one of them.
But remember what we're saying. Like these forwards, I don't even like these forwards. So anybody is better than these guys.
But that's
bro.
it's
not difficult.
I'm saying that was
okay, cool. Forget even not liking them in that sense. I don't even think these guys are even that good anyway. I've never thought these guys were good. So it's like if it basically it comes at the same thing that that me and you spoke about at the beginning of the season with all of the with the midfield thing. Man can go out. Remember, you was talking about getting Mason Mount. I was talking about, bro, why don't you just go outside like a Gallagher? We joked about the Harry Winks thing. Even though all of these things, banter or whatever, or just like, why don't you just go and get these guys? Remember, anybody was better than what we had anyway. So when I look at someone like Bowen, he would just be like, I mean, he's just better than what we have, but it's very close in how much better. And I don't think his top level will even be that great. Whereas I'd be looking at more like an Elise, because I feel like with someone like him, his potential to grow is quite massive, or is a lot better or bigger than someone like a Bowen. That's why I would go for someone. But Bowen would be good if we had him. If we had him now, I'll be okay. But I wouldn't go and sign him now, if that makes sense. We would already have had to add him.
But for me, I would sign. The reason why I would sign him is I don't see us moving away from still having the wide forwards that need to score goals. Like as in.
Okay.
We the fact that we're moving Nunes onto the left, the fact he played on the left against Arsenal, says to me that I think the trial, the trial that we had where it's like, our centre forward's got to bag the goals. He's going to be the number 9. That's for me. That's well and truly done, which I'll speak about. I think that's done. I think that proved it to me. Big game in your highest paid. I mean, your biggest signing as a forward in the history of Liverpool's. I mean, in the history of Liverpool, is forced to play out wide because he's not good enough to play as a striker. That's crazy. But for me, an Elise, it's like he's creative,
but he's not going to get you the goals. I know
he's not going to get you the goals. He's not.
But then that's what I'm saying. With this experiment, and you just said it here. Thank you, Enz. When this brother bounces, then we can get a guy who can get me a strike. Not even get. I don't need to necessarily go and sign a striker. I just need to play in a way that my striker can go and score some goals. With your wingers also doing, the same kind of thing. And man, let's pile on Klopp, man. Big up Paul Smith. I blame Klopp for the way Gatfo's form. When Klopp leaves, then we will really could. You know what I'm saying? You guys already know. You know what I'm saying? You already know the vibes, man. Like the way that we're playing. The maddest thing is we're second in the league, so can I really complain? But it's just one of those kind of things, man. Like I said, I just don't really like the way that we play. I've said it 100 times. I don't know how many different ways. I wish I could speak another language to say it differently, but I don't like the way that we play. So, and now when you're watching us play, if it's not individual brilliance, Salah yesterday, I should be getting onto Salah. Obviously, again, like I said, I'll save it for the tactics ball, but I should be getting onto him. Brother, you should have scored that other chance, the chance that you had. Why are you putting it to the side of the post? Heck, why are you not even taking it with your right foot? Or why are you not finishing it a lot differently than you were with your left foot? Why are you trying to rifle it into that fucking near post, you twat? That don't even make no sense.
You see Salah, and he scored a crazy goal,
Yeah. The goal was mad. The goal was mad.
His dribbling. There needs to be a case study on his technique. His technique is crazy.
We know it's crazy, bro.
I swear to God, this is how maybe I'm narrow-minded. Maybe I need to be a bit more open-minded. People come in different shapes and sizes and all that type of stuff. If my son was dribbling like that at the age of 11, I'll tell him to quit and we're gonna do something else. Maybe get into rugby. That dribbling was, bruv, the ball's bobbling off his shin pads. He ain't got control of it.
Yesterday was
correct. I couldn't believe it. No, mad. Big up Michael.
Hey, big up Michael Talks in the Ras Club building, bro. I need to, like I said, I'll be doing the mid-season review. So hopefully Jerry and all of you guys, I hope you're all free and then we can just literally chat about the season and talk some Liverpool. I'll message you privately. But guys, make sure you do obviously head on over to Michael Talks Football as well. Subscribe. He's out here living life anyway, living la vida loca. So I know he's just there. But like I said, I want to save it for Jerry's Tactic Talks, where we can, really, really talk Liverpool. What time are you doing it, by the way?
Well, we'll do it 1:30. Why not?
Okay, cool. All right, so then we'll wrap this up. Anyway, I've only got one more player to go into.
Yeah,
it's
like
a player
15,
that I think
20 minutes. Yeah, 15, 20 minutes should be enough, innit?
Cool. Yeah, so as I said, guys, one more player to quickly just take a look at before we, of course, head out. Dominic Solanke. He's another player that has impressed me this season. I know I'm missing out other players, but he's just another one I've looked at, for Bournemouth. The fact that he's playing for a team who are not good, they play decent football, I can't lie. And the manager that they've now got is trying to implement something a bit new. And of course, he still needs time to gel it. But this Solanke, brother, the fact that obviously he was at Chelsea, moved to Liverpool, didn't really work out for him at Liverpool. We got a great fee for him. John, I remember you mentioning about whether we've got is there a release clause for someone like Solanke. I don't think we even had one, to be honest. But even if we did, boy, I know man will be looking at that release clause and saying, I don't know, maybe we just sign man back real quick, because he is a striker who I feel like with time anyway, of course, this wasn't always like this, but with time, he's become a more rounded player. That's the way I've looked at him anyway, especially this season. But this season and last season, even though he didn't even get that many, last season, I think he scored 6 goals in all competitions and got 7 assists or something like that. So 13 goals and assists, but he got more assists than goals. That's obviously, again, I just think with the way that he is playing, the fact that he got hold up play, the ball can stick to him in the box. He's a threat. He can also run in behind. He's got an array of finishes, and he's actually relatively quick. He's decent at dribbling as well. I feel like he is the type of player, when we talk about Nunes being a raw individual, and we're like, oh yeah, give him time, he'll turn into no, I look at more Dominic Solanke, and I'm like, nah, that's what you say. If this brother was to move to a way better team, you will start seeing some different stuff, from this kind of player, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I think Iraola, yeah. A very, very, you're right, Michael. He's the way that he's trying to implement Bournemouth style of play this season. I had them finishing pretty high up, so to speak, in terms of, I think, high up in the bottom half of the table this season. But he started off a little bit janky, and I thought, oh, is this going to be one of them ones where they flog him because they're losing games and stuff like that? I just think that they're playing to his strengths. So I agree with you. Ends here in terms he probably wouldn't be good. They're playing to his strengths. I just think that the strengths that he does have could work potentially in a different team, potentially. So a Spurs, as an example. Obviously, they got Heung-min Son, they got Richarlison. Maybe it might work, somewhere like there. I just think when I look at him, he's just become more rounded, man. What do you think about Dominic Solanke?
He's a guy, yeah, where
I'm not saying he's some superstar striker, by the way.
Yeah, again, I feel sorry for Solanke, Origi, any type of forward we had. Do you know what I mean? Under Klopp, as soon as Klopp found that false 9 role, we never ever tried to go and play with a striker for a sustained period of time. It might have been one game that we did it for. Do you know what I mean? Because we had to, we had injuries. When Klopp first came in, Origi was playing as a striker and it worked. He was getting goals. I remember in that green top against Bournemouth, which is funnily enough, slapped Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Slapped Bournemouth, really, really good finishes as well. Origi really showed that, as a number 9, he had the pace, I mean, that raw ability as well. We just never wanted to go if we play that way. You've gone now, and as a result, have lost Firmino, but now are wanting to play with a number 9. So all the players that we had as a number 9 never got the opportunity, because I remember Solanke came on, last game of the season before he left. He was playing on the left wing. He was playing on the left wing.
But we did that with Origi, though. We've done that.
That's my point. That's my point. So it was like, you can't play in the false 9, so you need to play on the left wing now. There's some differences between, obviously, Nunes and Solanke. I think I agree. Technically, he's much better. I think he holds up the ball a bit better. I think he's got a better IQ. He's more experienced. He's played, youth Premier League, youth league football in England. So he understands the English game much, much more in terms of what's needed as a forward. He's playing consistently as well. One thing I'd say, this is the first season. I know he's got 12 goals, but he's got 12 goals. It's 12 goals, isn't it? It's not. It's 12 goals. It's still good at this point. If he gets 24 at the end of the season, we're talking, but it's 12 goals. I think it's his first season. He Did he get double digits last season? I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, he didn't. No,
he didn't. So it's like the first season he got goals. Now, would I prefer to see him instead of Nunes? If I'm being honest, yes, because this chaos talk is not good enough for me. But at the same time, would Solanke be as effective if there was no spacing behind, where Solanke thrives on and can, get the ball, switch out wide and then go on the box, get into the box? I don't know. Look, it'll be interesting, man. I think there's a reason why Liverpool bought him. Yeah. That's what we've got to think about. So if Liverpool bought him, then he must have had some talent. So someone must have seen in that scouting report, said, hey, this player can be good, because you don't buy a player, bar like Ben Davies and Kabak and that, where you're like, yeah, you know what, this player is like this poor. Like even Minamino, remember Klopp thought Minamino was going to be the guy. It just didn't work out. But every player that we bought, I think Klopp looked at and the team looked at and said, yeah, this guy's going to be good. So Solanke could be good. I think it would be interesting to see how a Solanke would do it like at Chelsea. Sustained run of games at a big club. I think that would be an interesting move because Brozier's a similar type of player, but he can't get into the team. Jackson's quite similar as well. He's got 7 goals. So yeah, it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting. I think he's full of confidence now, and I'm happy for him, man.
I feel you. But yes, guys, those were obviously 5 players that I picked out. If I just quickly run through them now. So obviously we just ended off there with Dominic Solanke of Bournemouth getting himself 12 goals and 1 assist. We had Vicario, the new Tottenham goalkeeper, helping them, I believe, down there, sitting in 4th, I think, in the Premier League. So that top 4 battle is obviously on. He's got himself 5 clean sheets. We've got Declan Rice as well. 3 goals, 2 assists for Arsenal this season, helping them to the top of the Premier League. We've got Anthony Gordon of Newcastle United. Obviously, couldn't really help them, stay in Europe, but has been excellent down that left wing. 6 goals and 6 assists this season. And last but not least, Lucas Paqueta, 5 goals and 5 assists for West Ham this season. Really, really good dominant displays that I've seen from him outside of the goals and or assist this season. So, fantastic players. And I think all of them as well, when we're looking when we're looking at all of these type of players, again, I'm not saying these guys are the best, by the way. I'm not saying that these guys are, going to be my team of the season. Maybe a couple might potentially if they continue the way that they're kind of going on. They're just the ones that have impressed me, especially ones like, as I mentioned, the Lucas Paquetas, the Anthony Gordons. They're the type of players that I'm looking at and I'm like, right, okay, cool. You know what? You guys have really shown me. You've really shown that you're, from what you've done the previous seasons and from what I've seen from you in the previous seasons, you've seemed like you've kind of gone on a level. And I think that's more for me what I'm always looking at, if I'm being totally honest. I'm always looking at, this level is okay, and a bit like Declan Rice, to be honest with you. A lot of hype around Declan Rice, a lot of hype, and for me, I'm always like, I'm sorry, but I can't call you the best of anything first and foremost until I see you in the best competitions first. I don't understand how you can claim someone to be the best at something when man's knocking about in some dead competitions. Then we might as well just start saying man from championship has to be placed on the same level as some of the, like, it doesn't really make any sense. You can't really, I don't get that logic, behind things. So yeah, some of these players I do think have really stepped it up. Big up Paul. He was literally, I had him first before. It was between him and Anthony Gordon. I just think Anthony Gordon just edged it a little bit more because I feel like Kudus could have been in here for me, but I feel like Kudus already came with a good reputation and he's kind of just continued it. Whereas Anthony Gordon wasn't really coming from a good reputation. Obviously, the way that he left Everton fans not really happy. Even when he did start playing for Newcastle, wasn't really popping or anything like that. So it is one of those kind of situations. I did have him in, and I actually made a card, for him, but I had to go with Paqueta. I had to go with Anthony Gordon on this occasion. But I could have gone with Bowen as well. Bowen's another one, who's impressed me this season. I think he's been good. And yeah, as I said, Kudus has been decent this season. I mean, he's definitely impressed. Yesterday's goal against Manchester United, really, really good goal on his right foot. I'm just hoping, by the way, Jerry, that he can, what I'm saying, he can pattern his thing up for Ghana. I mean, in African Cup of Nations, because I'm looking at him and I'm saying, yeah, like he's gonna be one player that I say one player. He's going to be the main player for us in the AFCON tournament coming in January.
He's a good
but
player,
just quickly,
man. He's a good player.
Just quickly on that, do you think? And obviously, we'll touch more on it in the show. Do you think that Liverpool are going to be affected for this AFCON?
No.
Obviously, it's only Salah going. So no, Salah, but also by the way,
Liverpool. Endo's going to go.
Liverpool
will be highly affected. Liverpool will be highly affected. Tsimikas is now out with a suspected broken collarbone.
Yeah, but Robbo's coming back.
Robbo, we don't know. They're saying he's coming back. Where is he? Has he even stepped foot on grass yet to run?
I don't know.
No one knows. So we haven't got cover at right back now. So if Trent gets injured, because Gomez is covering at left back for now. If Trent gets injured, we've got no cover at right back. We've got no DM. McAllister's still out. If McAllister gets injured, what do we do there? We're gonna have to go into the transfer window, or Klopp's gonna have to just say, yeah, like McConnell in it. That's why we signed him a deal.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we'll talk about that later on anyway. That's okay. If you're saying McConnell, then yeah.
Maybe Thiago will be back. Maybe John, your boy, will be back. Man, like Alcantara and that. He's trash, man.
I forgot about that, brother.
He's trash, man.
I actually forgot about that, brother. But guys, look, we're done for today. Blessings, love for everybody who's obviously tuned in on today's show, taking a look at 5 players who've obviously impressed us this season. What I was going to say was, for everybody, of course, who does celebrate it, Merry Christmas. If I don't speak to you guys before then, Happy New Year. If I don't speak to you before then, of course, Jerry has got a stream. So after this stream has ended, guys, it will literally redirect you over to Jerry's channel, where we're going to be doing the Liverpool tactics board. So make sure you guys are all here. Make sure you just stay tuned and stay connected. Stay on your phones, stay on your laptops, stay on your computers, wherever the hell you're watching this on. Heck, if you're driving, make sure you park off to the side and make sure you obviously, of course, tune into the tactics board. That's where, if you guys have got any Liverpool questions and stuff like that, post it in there, that we can really take a real deep dive into yesterday's performance, but also taking a look at Liverpool in a general sense. My next live, as I mentioned before, I will be doing a mid-season review after Liverpool's game against Burnley, because that will be match number 19 in the Premier League. So I think that'll be a good cut-off. So I think I'll be doing it on the Thursday, but check your notifications. I think I've already set it up, so it should be there for you guys to see. And then after that, I will be doing just a little show in the evening, just where I'm taking a look at all the sections of Liverpool. So Liverpool defense, midfield, and the attack so far this season. So I'll be spending, I think it's 3 nights on that. So each night we'll be doing something different. So night 1, defense, obviously, and the goalkeeper. Night 2, it'll be the midfield. And then night 3, it will be the attack. So hopefully some of the lads can join me on that, but hopefully you guys join me in the chat. Jerry, is there anything you want to say before I get us out of here?
No, nothing. Just obviously, again, just echoing Merry Christmas to anyone that celebrates. If you don't, this is still a good time to spend with family, because shops are now closed. So I'm spending with family, chilling, doing whatever. I will be, in a couple minutes, we'll be doing the tactics board for the game. It won't be as long as usual. It'll probably be 40 minutes. We'll try and make it 40 minutes. So it will be quick. It will be more kind of just discussing yesterday's events. Obviously, I haven't had time to get a lot of stuff to do with the tactics done. But from what I've watched, I can obviously discuss them. You can chop up the major obviously talking points, which is obviously the handball, which I didn't see in real life. Could have Alisson have done better for the goal? Konate versus Saliba. I mean, a lot of talk, and of course the PGMOL in it, and the red card for Bukayo Saka, who, apparently he's the nicest guy in football, but man's there breaking man's collarbone. So it is what it is. Anyway, big up to everyone. Make sure we're subscribing, liking the video on GTV Football as well, as always, man. Let's, you know what? This is the target before the new year. I want to get G to 1K subs. That should be easy. 100 subs off the bag. He's putting out the content now. He's being consistent. We got a week. We got a week. So let's go.
We got a week. Let's go. But guys, big up everybody in the chat. Hope you're all blessed, and catch me over. As I said, it's going to redirect you to Jerry's channel. Make sure you all stay on your computers here. Smash that like button as soon as you get over there, and let's talk all things Liverpool. Peace.